Wow. Who is she? Hi! Welcome back, or welcome to, whichever. First things first, who is she? Let's address the eyes. Very, very bold for me. Very different, not perfect by any means. This is the first time I've tried anything like this. I know it's not perfect, I know it's not even close to perfect, but I quite like it. I think it looks quite cool. So this weekend is a bank holiday weekend, and I decided to take some time for myself and declutter my bedroom. I have literally got rid of so much stuff, which brings me to today's video. We are decluttering my eyeshadow collection. Now, my collection is not big by any means whatsoever. For a makeup enthusiast, for a makeup artist, for a makeup whatever, my collection is relatively small, but I have too much makeup, too many eyeshadow palettes, some that I've been a bit of a hoarder for, that are actually quite old now, that I just need to get rid of. I need to let it go, I need to just out with the old, in with the new, am I right? So I'm going to go through each brand that I have and can tell you what I'm keeping and what I'm getting rid of. Sounds easy enough, doesn't it? Let's go! Okay, so we're going to go in alphabetical order, so we're starting with A, which can only mean one thing, Anastasia Beverly Hills, or ABH. I have 4 of their palettes. I'm quite embarrassed to show you the first one. This is a well-loved palette. This was actually the first eyeshadow palette I bought for myself. It was the first thing I ever actually spent money on. Not this exact one, this is my second one because the other one expired. But this is well-loved, as you can tell. This travels everywhere with me, and this is the Modern Renaissance palette. Oh my god, do I love this palette. It's just something else, isn't it? Like, everyone who loves makeup just should have this palette regardless. Like, it's only got 2 actual like metallic shades, but everything about it is just brilliant. Like, the amount of looks I've managed to do for this, when I have been able to freelance, I always take this. I love it. It's staying. End of. Next from ABH is the Norway palette. I was very fortunate to have my lovely boyfriend buy me this when we were in America. It's one of my favourites. ABH, their formula is just something else. There is a lot of fallout in the pans of these, but I don't really care about that. Okay, I'm going to try and swatch one else. I'm going to swatch Wild Child Celestial for you. Where should I swatch them? I can't tell if that looks any good, but that is Wild Child and Celestial. Like, they're just brilliant, brilliant shades. So obviously I'm keeping this. The next one is the Self-Made palette. I hadn't even heard of this palette. I can't even remember how I got my hands on this palette, but this is what it looks like. The shades themselves do look great, but there's just something about them. This does not have the same formula as these. I mean, you may have this and you may love it, and your formula, yeah, you may have a different version to mine, but mine is just very dusty. It doesn't have the best pigmentation, so unfortunately I'm gonna get rid of this. The last ABH palette I have is the Soft Glam palette. Now, I really like this palette. Like, this is just like the Modern Renaissance and Norvina palette. It's just a warm tone, neutral palette. The everyday needs. See how dirty it is, because 1, there is fallout, 2, I use it a heck of a lot. But the colours, everyday, neutral, wedding, like bridal colours, like, it's just great, you know? 10 out of 10. So I am keeping the Soft Glam palette. Right, swiftly moving along to B. So the first brand I have in B, I've only got 1 palette for, which is Beauty Bay. So when I go on holiday, I like to buy myself a new palette. I unfortunately had an instance where I took my Naked 2 palette to Rome, and my hand luggage got put in the hold. It got destroyed and the whole thing shattered everywhere. And if you know, Urban Decay shadows are not the cheapest. So I always, when I go on holiday, like to treat myself to a relatively cheap eyeshadow palette, but like with good quality. And I had heard such good things about Beauty Bay their own collection, and so I bought this palette, which is the Berry palette. This is what it looks like. The metallics are really, really nice. Like, let's see, I think I really like Jubilee, Rustic Rose. These two shades, well, all the metallics are like quite creamy, high pigmentation, great. The only problem I have with this palette is that some of the mattes aren't the easiest to blend. See, my thing is, I can't complain because I think this was on sale when I got it, and I only got it for £4 or something ridiculous. So I don't really care if it takes a little bit longer to blend. I don't have that much of a problem with it if I've only paid £4 for it. I don't know, but I'm gonna keep it because it is a good palette. There is pigment there in all of the shades, and just some of the mattes are harder to blend, but all in all, a good palette, so I'm keeping you. My next palette is by a different brand, beginning with B, which is BH Cosmetics, and this is the Zodiac palette. I've been debating over and over again about this palette, whether or not I should keep it, and here's why. So these eyeshadows, the metallics in this palette are baked, and they are absolutely stunning. The mattes, however, I'm not the biggest fan of. Now, can you see all of these? They're absolutely incredible. However, if you were just working with this palette, you don't have a lot of choice in mattes, and it's just either neutrals or purples. It's very hard to create a look using these. I don't know. I don't really know what to do. We'll swatch Cancer. See, Cancer alone, do you see that? Like, and that's just one shade. Like, we'll do Aquarius and Pisces too. They're my parents' signs. Look at these. You know? Do you know what? No, I'm gonna keep it. The mattes are crap. Sorry. But, should I keep it? Yeah, no, I'm gonna keep it. The mattes are crap, but the metallics are just... I can't part with a good metallic, unfortunately, so surprised with myself, but I'm gonna keep it. So the next letter we're moving to is H. That is Huda Beauty. I've only got one palette from them, which is the Rose Gold Textured palette. Oh my god, this palette. This was my absolute favourite palette for the longest time, and I have not been able to part with this. As much as I don't want to, I have to get rid of this palette. I've had it for way over the 12 months you're supposed to use it for, so unfortunately I'm going to have to get rid of it. Will I buy it again? 110%. Huda Beauty shadows from the one palette I've experienced are phenomenal. They're great. So I would highly recommend. Okay, moving on down from H to J, we've got two brands here. The first brand is Jeffree Star Cosmetics. Now, I'm a huge fan of Jeffree Star and his cosmetics line. I have so many of his liquid lipsticks. I'm very fortunate to have 3 of his eyeshadow palettes. I just think his line is just out of this world. So the first shade I have of his is Blue Blood. I am obsessed with this palette. I have it on my eyes right now. But these shades are... These shades are absolutely incredible. The only thing, right, I think me and my mum are the only 2 people this has happened to, because I've had no one else say about this. The shade Ocean Ice, I've used it on myself and I've used it on mum. It reacts with our eyes and like makes my eyes so red. I don't know if that's a me problem, if that's a formula problem. I don't know what the problem with that shade is. Maybe it's because it's such a deep blue. I don't know, but it reacts with my eyes. Everything else in this palette though, 10 out of 10, gonna keep it. Moving on down, we have the Conspiracy palette. Oh, wow! Again, love this palette. I love the box of this and Blue Blood. It does make it a little bit hard to store for me, but I love how extra it is. I just love it. This is another well-loved palette. Yeah, I'm obsessed. I think my favourite shade in this thing is Diet Cola and Conspiracy. I don't know if you can see them, but they are just, I think I'm gonna keep calling everything in this video incredible, but it just is, like, it's just incredible, such a good formula. There's not one shade I dislike in this palette. I'm very, very happy, so staying with me. The last palette I have by Mr. Jeffree Star is the Mini Breaker palette. Oh my god, I'm obsessed with this packaging. Like, I don't know if it's just me, but the texture on it, everything, the colours, like, it's just, I love it. And then this is the inside. This shade right here is one of my all-time favourite shades, I may say. I love a duochrome, I love a purple, I love a pink, I love a wow shade. I don't know if you can tell, but that is a wow shade. And the mattes in here, like, everything in this palette, like, packs such a punch. It is phenomenal. Said it right that time. Right, so that, staying with me. Right, the next brand I have in J is it Juvia's Place or Juvia's Place? How do you pronounce the J? Someone please let me know. But I have two palettes by them. I have the Festivals. I first heard about this brand from Nikki Tutorials. I can tell why she loves them. These are just everything. This shade was my highlighter for such a long time. Like so. Look at that. I loved it. And I still love it, like this whole palette. So again, that's staying with me. I've only got rid of 2 shadow palettes so far, so I'm doing really well, obviously. The next palette I have by them is the Zoomies Palette. And this palette, this is my second one of these, and oh my god. So the first time I got this was when I was trying to experiment with colour more, and best decision I ever made. Like, these mattes, like, they're not playing around. That's staying. Okay, now we're moving straight on to K. I have 2 brands beginning with K. My first one is Kat Von D. I've only got 1 shadow palette by Kat Von D, which one of my best friends got me this as a gift, and it is the Fetish palette. Now, don't be alarmed by the name or the name shades, because they are quite out there for a palette, but these shades are just, let me start googling synonyms for incredible. No, I love these, I really do. Oh, this shade Cuffs is one of my favourite silvers, like, well, my favourite silver that I own. Like, it's just something else. As is every other palette apparently I own. When I got this, I wasn't too sure, so it was the whole time around the controversy when she said she wasn't going to vaccinate her son, and I was a bit like, dude, like, vaccinate your fucking child, please. But nevertheless, I absolutely love this palette, so it is staying with me, and I'm sorry if that offends anyone. Next, moving along, my mother bought me this for Christmas. This is the Cocoa palette by Kylie Cosmetics. It's the only thing I've ever tried from Kylie Cosmetics before. When I've looked before, the shipping to England is insane, plus you have to pay customs on top of that, so I've just been like, not my style, not my speed. But this palette, you can tell, I have used quite a lot of it, and I only got it at Christmas. It is beautiful, like, it's such a nice everyday palette, and I thought this yellow and this pink weren't going to be the best. Like, in all honesty, I haven't heard great things about her eyeshadow palette, but they're absolutely incredible, and has actually made me be like, oh Kylie, hi, please open in the UK, because I don't want to have to pay customs. Like, I'm too broke for that. If she had a shop or was using a UK router, my bank would be in trouble, because I was a big fan of this. So it's same with me. Okay, we are swiftly moving down to letter L. Wait, is that backwards for you, or is it that one? L. Whichever. I have 2 brands here, 2 influencer brands. So the first one we have is Laura Lee Los Angeles. How stunning is this packaging? I'm obsessed with this. Unfortunately, I have to get rid of this palette because it is past its, you know, expiration date. My problem is, now that I've been looking back at this palette, it is just beautiful, and when I was using this, I loved it. However, I don't know why, I just stopped reaching for it. I really can't tell you why. It was just like, I hate to say that better came out and I just had better palettes. They're really, really pretty shades. So I don't really know what my problem was, but I had a problem with it and now it's too late to do anything about it and I've got to say goodbye, unfortunately. Next in L is another influencer, Miss Laura Lee's best friend, Mr. Manny MUA, with the Lunar Beauty Life's a Drag palette. Now look at that stunning packaging. I love this palette, I really do. At first, when I first got it, I was a bit like, you know, like I wasn't too sure on it. I don't know. And there's only 2 shimmer shades and I was just like, ah. But when I used this palette, my god. First off, these 2 shimmers, stunning. Look at that. Beautiful. These vibrant shades. Bam! Look at that. Pigment, colour, vibrant. Love it. This is a great palette, so I am keeping this. Wow. Who is she? Style Grace, Miss United States. Right, we are now at M. It's time to hold on to your hats. So my first one is Makeup Obsessions. Now I hear a lot of things about Makeup Obsessions, about how their shadow is crap. All I know about Makeup Obsessions is that my mum went to go get someone a present from there and they gave her this for free for whatever reason. It's a palette and then she got 6 individual shadows in it, however 2 of which broke. And so she gave it to me with, oh my god, I'm so sorry, these 4 shadows. And I have 2 mattes, 2 metallics. I don't know what everyone's problem is. These just pop out. These are just individuals. I don't know if anyone has tried the individuals. I don't know if they even make individuals anymore, because I haven't seen any. But these are great, man. Like, let me swatch all 4 for you, why not? Do they have names? Oh, they do! First one is Cosmo, then Bourbon Brown, then, oh god, Beach Blonde, and Cinnamon. Don't know if it's gonna focus, but there's 4 shades there, and they're alright. Like, there's no problem with that. I can do my work makeup with this, you know? I really don't see the problem, but then again, I don't have an actual, like, they set out palette. My mum literally just got this for free because I think 2 of the shades were broken. But I'm happy with it. It's staying with me. Winner, winner. Next brand we have is Makeup Revolution, and if you have seen my first video, I used this in that, which can probably mean that I really like it if I was going to use it on my channel, especially as my first, you know, video, and I do. I've never used their shadows before. I used to have a highlighter palette from them and it was a dream, but this is so good. I can't really say much more than that. Like, they have so much shine in these like in the shimmers. It's ridiculous. Like, for a high street palette, this is everything, and it's staying with me. Right, let's go. The next brand in M I have is, of course, Morphe. You will be able to tell that the first palette I have needs to be thrown out because old packaging, it is old. And this palette I never got on with. Controversial, very controversial, because so many people love this palette. It's one of the first palettes I ever got. It just wasn't there for me. I really want to get this again because everyone I know who does colourful creative makeup loves this palette, so I think I just need to give it another go. I don't know, but I did not like this personally. I felt like it was quite patchy on me. I wish it had worked as well as it works for other people, because look at all this variety, and Morphe is very inexpensive. Like, this palette is probably around £20. I don't know, let me fact check that before I start throwing that out there. And the shimmers in Pam look incredible, but on my eyes just did nothing for me. So maybe I will have to invest in this one again. This is the 35B, and it's a no from me. Who am I, Simon Cowell? The next one I have is the 35O. Again, old packaging. This is very old. But this palette I loved. Oh my god. I love this whole row here. Like, I love that warmth, and there's a reason there's such a hype over this brand. This is why. But unfortunately I'm going to have to get rid of it. Right, moving on to the 35R palette. by Morphe. Now, you will think that this palette is well loved because 2 shades are completely gone. However, they're the only 2 shades I liked in this palette. Like, none of the mattes wowed me. Like, I'm just a bit disappointed because it's just, there's only so much you can do with this look, with this palette. Like, you're gonna be doing either a brown or gold look. That's it, and I don't know, I have to get rid of this anyway because it's old, clearly, but I won't be purchasing this again. The next palette I have by Morphe is the Jaclyn Hill palette, and again I'm gonna have to get rid of this because it's so old, but oh my god, how obsessed with this palette I was. Oh my god, like absolutely incredible, could not get enough of, will order again 110%. I don't know why I haven't, like I know I can't use the palette for so long. Oh god, it feels old, unfortunately. But wow, look at that one shade already. Well, don't look at it, but oh, there we go. Do you see? Like, it's just wow, yeah. It's just such a good palette. And Jaclyn Hill, if you don't know, she's a YouTuber. She does a lot with Morphe, and that was, I think, the best thing she's ever done. The next 2 palettes I have from Morphe and Jaclyn Hill are 2 of the Vault palettes, and that was a moment, wasn't it? If you don't know, Jaclyn Hill, after she released this bad boy, then said, hey, I have X amount of shades that weren't good enough for this palette that I still want to release, and everyone was like, sounds odd, but okay. And they are stunning, and I get you can only have so many in a palette, so that makes sense to me. Like, I was obsessed with these 2, like I just needed them in my life. I was going to Florida with my friends, and I was like, I have to have these, I have to look fantastic in Florida. If you know about these, you know the controversy. These were not a good formula. This was not Morphe's usual formula. I don't know what happened. I even got volume 2 because the formula was bad. They redid it, or there was something about it where they sent out a whole new batch and whatnot. But these still aren't good in my eyes. These are not good. Will not be using again. Are going straight in the bin. But pretty packaging, am I right? And the shades look so good. That's my problem. I mean, they're really patchy, not blendable for me personally. They're just crap. Sorry. Then my last palette from Morphe, I don't have to throw out because it's new packaging. I've also used this in a video of mine on the channel. That sounds so weird to say, doesn't it? This is the 39A palette, and I love it. If you just want one eyeshadow palette, this has everything you need. Like, it's got your neutrals, it's got pops of colour. The only thing it doesn't have is a highlight shade. I just love it so much. And like, how could you not? How could you hate this palette? Like, it goes on like a dream. It comes off like a dream. It blends out like a dream. It's just perfect, you know? Very happy staying with me. We're moving down to N. This is our second last brand. Believe it or not, I don't know how long this video is. Some of you are probably like, just finish already, please. And that's fine, but you need to hear about this because this is the Denona Sunrise palette. Well, it's such an expensive brand though. Like, one of their palettes is about 160 quid. 160 pounds. No. This palette, however, is 60 pounds. I can't, like, I just can't, like, it is so stunning. Tell me that is not beautiful. Try it, I'll prove you wrong. I've worn this in one of my videos before. I think this is my favourite palette ever right now. Like these 2. I would swatch this whole palette for you if I could, but my hand is starting to get a bit angry with me. Really happy with that. Staying right with me, right next to my pillow. I am obsessed. And now this brings us to our last brand, our last 2 shadows. Woohoo, we made it. Thank you for staying with me. We're moving all the way down to the letter U for Miss Urban Decay. The first palette I have from Urban Decay
is the Urban Decay Naked 2. Now earlier I mentioned that the Naked 2 of mine broke in Rome, but I soon enough bought another one straight away. I had to. Like this palette. Naked 1, 2 and 3 are staples. You have to at least experience one of them. I love Naked 2. With this palette you can go really smoky, you can go really bridal. It is very versatile, and I know it doesn't look that special, but it is. This is one of the most special palettes, and you already know it's staying with me. The last palette we have is the Urban Decay Naked Heat palette. This palette, it was okay. It's okay. It's a warm tone palette. I just never gravitated towards it. The mattes in here aren't comparable to the mattes in the Naked 2, personally. The shimmers in here are pretty cool. They're quite nice, aren't they? But it's not my favourite palette. Nothing in here screams at me, oh yes, this is a look I'm going to do. Nothing inspires me in this palette. I hate to say it because I love Urban Decay, but unfortunately I am going to have to get rid of it. What a sour note to end on though. But that is it. That is us decluttering my makeup collection. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for the experience. So we are getting rid of 10 eyeshadow palettes and we are keeping 18. As if I had 28 eyeshadow palettes. I feel like that's a lot, but then part of me is like, no Scarlett, you need to step up your game. And it just means I have a bit more room to buy even more. I'm so excited for that. I am ready to buy more eyeshadow palettes. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and hopefully I will see you in my next video. Bye!